Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. It's a delight to be joined with the wonderful Carmen with her fantastic film American Dream. Welcome, Carmen.
Hi Danny.
So good to have you back after our virtual film festival. But for those that haven't seen, or if you have seen it, let's take a look at a clip of American Dream.
Mírate la ropa. Ay, ¿no te dije que me la dieras ayer? Ahora te vas a ir todo arrugado. Ay, a ver si no te despiden de ese trabajo.
It's okay, Mom. Jesus.
Jesus. It's okay, Jesus. Híjole, ¿quién te entiende?
Bye, Ma.
Bye, mijo.
Well, Carmen, so delighted. I can't wait to see you in person. But in the meantime, we'll celebrate you in this new format. Thanks for making American Dream. It was such a great story. And I'm so glad you brought it to us. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of American Dream.
So American Dream basically takes place it's a day in the life of an undocumented worker trying to support her family on a day-to-day basis.
I literally, like, you know how some characters, obviously you get more affected than others, but the moment I saw her, I just fell in love with her. I just love her. I just absolutely love her. And I love the way, you just start the film off and you could just see how much she cares about her sons. Like, it was just like, who is this woman? Can I give her a hug? She's so wonderful. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular project?
Coming from a place like Guatemala, I moved here to Los Angeles in 2015. So it was when the election was going on and everything changed big time for immigrants, especially the time that I moved here. And the approach and the way that people see immigrants and the labels that were put on them, to me, were very eye-opening, because I was not suffering from them because I came here with a student visa. So I didn't have to live like in the shadows or anything, but I understood what it meant that they were putting these labels on the people from the land that I'm from. And I know that's not true because I was raised by them, and I don't know, that's where I lived my entire life. So to stereotype an entire culture from just some people that haven't got that way, I don't know, like, it was so unfair. And to call all undocumented workers criminals was, to me, it was so frustrating that I was like, no, they are selfless, they are hardworking people, they are doing the jobs that nobody else is. So yeah. I felt like I needed to say it in a way that was not attacking, I didn't want to say like a really hard statement or anything, but I just wanted to show a piece of these people's lives and just a day in the life, basically, which is what American Dream is, and just show the struggles that they go through and how vulnerable they are and how people just take advantage of them because of their situation.
Yeah. Everything that you said, I am in total agreements with, and it's actually grossly disgusting the way that undocumented immigrants are spoken about, not just with people, but in the media and everything. Like, it's like, and I hate all these boxes, and like you say, a whole country or a whole group of people that we just have to put everyone in a box together without truly understanding what one goes through, how hard people are working, where people have actually come from, what they're trying to overcome in their life, what they really want. And it's just like, especially when you kind of live in a world that just feels like so kind of selfish at times, you know what I mean? And it's really wrong. And I'm so glad because, the central character that you focused on, she is just one wonderful example of a hard working person just trying to take care of her family. And I thought you just, articulated that she just looked like every good, hardworking mother that just wanted just to support her family and had to go and overcome a whole lot more for absolutely no reason, just because this country can be biased and the way that it looks and the way that it's discriminated. It's very, very wrong. And I think I'm so glad you highlighted this story and this person. I thought your cast were amazing. I loved her. Like, how was that process for you?
So before I started writing this script, when I knew that I wanted to write about this topic, I really wanted to inform myself in it as much as possible, because I didn't want to be somebody that was like completely like representing somebody, like, you know, another culture or anything. Like, I really just wanted to submerge and understand what's going on, and what's the hardest thing on a day-to-day basis
Right.
about being undocumented. So
Yeah.
there's this part of in downtown LA, it's this little market that is like this Guatemalan area, where I found it through an Eater LA article where they were just commenting on street Guatemalan food. And I went just to check it out, and all of these people were just like, it just felt like home. And it was so easy. Once I started talking to them in Spanish, they were like they were just so easy to talk to, and they were just sharing their lives with me. And it was so easy that I basically showed up to the market for a month, just talking to them and getting to know people and asking questions and finding out stories, trying to find a character basically, and trying to shape a story with what they were telling me. And I actually came across this woman called Lupe, who worked in a bathroom and cleaned houses and had 2 kids, but they were 2 girls. And I basically wrote pretty much most of the story around her. That's pretty much a day in her life. And that's just a little bit of, the movie shows some of the sacrifices that she's had to make because of her status. So basically, I wanted to cast her as my Lupe, you know, Lupe. So it was almost a documentary, you know?
Yeah, it felt that way.
But a week before we started filming, she called me and she told me that she couldn't do it, that she was too scared, that she talked it through with her daughters, and that it was just gonna jeopardize their everything. So I couldn't push her to do that. I was not gonna, you know, become pushy or anything, you know. I had to accept it and let it be. I understand how vulnerable it must be, so I had to just find a way. So I went to backstage and I threw a casting call for Lupe, and just looking for actresses that fit the part and spoke Spanish good. That was my only requirement, just speak really good Spanish. And I came across this actress, Elizabeth Colaruyas, which her reel was amazing. She had already worked for these like roles like this, and she was brought to the US when she was 2 years old. So when she read the script, she really, really, really connected to Lupe. And that was like really important to me, because I don't know, just my main actress, she really just had to understand what I needed from her, the emotion, what it meant, the sacrifices she was, you know, I didn't want a performance. I wanted to be in her, you know?
Oh, and the way, I mean, the most incredible thing is, well, firstly, well done, Carmen, because, you know, when sometimes, you know, you think, you know, a week before a production and you get this big bombshell, and obviously respectfully, you know, to the person that was going to be in your film, but it's a worry, but you picked it up. You're like, right, okay, I'm gonna overcome this hurdle, and I'm still gonna make it happen. And then look what happened. I mean, you could imagine it. She played the part so well. And you know what was so incredible, I found, is that, you know, just the journey where you took the camera with her, like all you needed was her expression, her feeling. You felt so much from her. Like, I felt like I was there with her in the bathroom, you know, when people were shaking their hand, you know, washing their hands, like that whole feeling. I was just like, oh my goodness, she gave such a powerful performance.
Yeah, no, she was amazing. She was amazing. And the most incredible part is that we couldn't even rehearse, because she was in another production during that week. So like I had, after I said yes, like I want you for the part, and she was interested and everything, she would finish shooting her other movie like at 11 p.m. at night sometimes. So she would call me when she was driving home or something, and we would just go over the script and chat a little bit about what the story was about, and more about like immigration stories more than the script, you know. I wanted to talk about more of the universe with her and really see how she felt about it. And that was basically our rehearsals, was just talking about that, like for 3 hours long sometimes. And I would ask her things like, how does Lupe feel about this? And she would ask me, like, she would answer like in like the characters would think, you know, and
Love it.
It was perfect. Then the first day that we shot, it was so natural. Like the second I said action, she just knew exactly what to do. I didn't have to do anything. Like we were just on the same page.
Well, I was just amazed. In the short film, you had quite a few different locations, and I thought, oh my goodness, you set yourself up with some challenges there as well, and everything else. In terms of production wise, what was kind of the biggest challenges that you kind of faced?
Well, honestly, the biggest challenge was, well, funding wise, trying to find locations that were like within the budget. That was hard, but I found a lot of places to shoot, honestly, and I was still a student, so I had access to some of the places in my school to shoot. So that was great, honestly. But maybe the most challenging was the last day. We didn't shoot with sound. We just shot with the camera because we did guerrilla, like all over LA, because we didn't have permits. And it was super, like the places where we wanted to shoot in downtown were like super expensive. Like we would have to close the street and ask for police presence. And we don't need that. Like we just needed a shot of her crossing the street, you know? So it was for the jump cut sequence.
No, and when, I mean, it was extremely powerful. That moment when she is carrying, as in England we say, a trolley. That's actually, don't know if that's the same thing we say in American English. I'm not sure, but you know, when she's carrying her thing and she's walking through, you know, on the sidewalk, that's such a powerful, like, you just feel just all the things that are going on in her mind, and she's tired and she's, you know, and just everything. Like, it was such a powerful shot as one example that I'm glad that you captured those shots also as well. I think, you know, one of the things that really stuck with me as a fellow human, I mean, certainly our film festival at New Filmmakers, we have a lot of people that work in positions that make everything work for our film festival. And one of those people are people that are in, you know, in service as janitors. And we always try to praise and appreciate and love and give kindness and encourage people in our audience to do the same. And I think, you know, did you also kind of want to create an element of just, you know, people that have to do very difficult jobs, like to almost have a human appreciation for people that are working hard for us and having to do very difficult things under more difficult circumstances? That's something you kind of wanted your audience to kind of get from it too? Yes,
exactly. Like that's why the title was so important to me, because it was the irony in the title.
Yeah.
In the images you just saw, the contrast between them, you know, that is clearly not a dream, you know. She is going through hell. Like, she doesn't have a steady job. She doesn't have a steady paycheck. She doesn't know when she's going to get paid next, and she has to take care of her family. So, and calling that American dream was like, almost like, that's all I wanted to do. Like, the impact I wanted to have was, from day one, America has been built on immigrants. And even the Italians that came and the Irish that came, they didn't come being millionaires. They came to work, and they came to work like their asses off, you know? Yeah. So that's the story of immigration, because that is the American dream since day one. We have a complete misconception of what the American dream is. People think the American dream is 2.5 kids and a dog and a cat and a parrot, you know, a backyard and 2 cars. No, the American dream is people like Lupe. It's people that gave up everything so that their legacy and their kids can have something. Their kids are not gonna have to clean toilets. They're gonna get to go to college. And that, to her, that is her dream, even if she's gonna die cleaning toilets. Her dream is that her kids are never gonna have to do that. And that is so selfless and so beautiful. That is basically why I had to tell a story like this, because it doesn't matter the nationality even. It's just immigrants in general. Like,
Carmen, you're so wonderful. I really just adore your vision and your work. And I love this story because, you know, I've got friends of mine that, you know, have come from different countries, and their parents have had to work really hard jobs just to help them go to college or help them a better life than they did. And, you know, we can never forget that, you know, we can never forget that. And we shouldn't, nobody in this world should, in this country particularly, nobody really truly understands the sacrifices one has gone through just to live, just to exist, just to do better for their children. Like, you know, and I'm so glad that you put that vision and perspective on it, because I hope it really does encourage, you know, anyone that's watching to either A, educate themselves, or B, become better people and be more understanding, you know. And I think that is so great, which is why you just have to keep making films forever. What is next for you, Carmen?
Well, I am on the process of working on something that I'm really, 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 really excited about. I call it a passion project, but honestly, all my projects are passion projects because I'm super, super like, if I'm gonna do something, I have to be 100% obsessed with the idea. So I don't really have a lot that I can really say for sure, but it's honestly, I'm working on a documentary that will talk about domestic workers in Latin America.
I'm already, you know, I'm a fan of you. I want to see it already. So that's great. And
yeah, it's called Thank You for Your Service. So it's something, it's called, like, I know you say that to the military and stuff, but I think it's also something we should be saying to, like you said, like to janitors and to workers. And
yeah. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love that, you know, do you feel as a filmmaker and going into your journey, you know, to continue making projects, do you feel, you know, does your line of passion really kind of fall on sort of the unheard, the unsung hero, the ones that we don't, you know, speak enough about and don't see enough of on our screens? Is that kind of where you lie as a filmmaker?
Well, yes, but no, because I'm really conscious. Like, I really just don't want to make, for example, with this documentary, my first thing is like, I do not want to be the help. Like, I know I'm a white Latina, and like being a white Latina is like being a white person anywhere. I'm white, you know? So I don't want to be the white person that talks about indigenous people, because that is, to me, is off. I don't want to be, you know, the voice of the voiceless. I want to actually, because I have the privilege to have a microphone, I just want to hand it to someone, but I don't want to be the one that talks, you know?
Yeah.
I really just don't want to be that white kid that is talking about something that they don't know about. Like, I really just feel like I was born privileged, and because of that, like, I feel like if we want to see a better world, just more privileged people have to use their privilege as a ladder, you know, build a ladder for the less privileged, because the only difference between you and them is luck. And it's the luck that you were born in the skin that you were born in. And that, if that makes you privileged, I don't know, like, I feel kind of like if I'm gonna do something, like, I have to do something, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know, but I love that this is actually something that is such an important thing to talk about in our industry. And again, I don't think people, you know, have been good enough in having this conversation before. And I love that you just said that, you know, almost, you know, you're passing the microphone to essentially to the people who are actually going through the actual experience, you know, and too long it's been the wrong people, voices, directing, producing something, and speaking on behalf of something that they can't actually physically, mentally, emotionally relate to. And I think that's such an important conversation. So, I mean, like, for you personally, do you feel like when you are approaching, you know, amazing subjects, that you want to kind of almost surround yourself by people that can relate to that experience, right?
Yes. Not only that, but I don't know, honestly, also, like, this might sound a little bit weird, but like, I honestly, I grew up in a kind of very classist and closed-minded society, and I grew up really blinded by that. And once I moved outside and I lived on by myself and experienced the world on my own and made my own decisions and my own religion views and all of that, and honestly, like, I came out as a lesbian to my parents, and I was really just not well, wasn't well received at all. They're very, very religious, and I don't know, like, I've gone through discrimination in a way, you know. Maybe it hasn't been because of my skin color, and maybe it hasn't been because, you know, because of class issues, but I've been discriminated. And even if it's been just for my parents, and even if it's just been for a second, and it doesn't compare to Black people or anything else, you know, the seconds that I've been discriminated against feels so horrible that I don't want anybody to feel like that, and I don't want that to exist, you know, at any like ever, any point, anything. So
yeah,
it's more like
yeah.
I am privileged, but I understand, like I get it, and maybe not fully, and maybe I never will, but what I know is that it shouldn't be that way. So I'm always just gonna fight against that, about like against injustices, because it's what I'm passionate about, and honestly I'm never gonna do nothing that I'm not passionate about.
Yeah. Oh, this is like, I wish we had like you know, one of our, what we have for the Q&A, a Zoom. This would be an epic conversation that I'm love talking about and speaking about, because you know, it brings us close together and a better understanding of each other, and we had the most powerful element, which is film. So you know, I'm glad that you're part of the change in the face of how this industry is hopefully going to be looking in the future and be better at that as well. So I'm so grateful. Now, just to finish up, and you've given so many really good pointers and advice for filmmakers out there, you know, from your heart, from your perspective, is there anything you can share with anyone out there that you may have learned in your experience thus far, that you could give to our audience to kind of help them on their journey as filmmakers?
I would honestly advise anybody that is like wants to have a career in film to not be shy, like to network or to reach out to people, because I think that was my biggest mistake. I was shy for too long, and I missed out on great networking opportunities and on great, like really great friendships. And like I came to discover that after I started building confidence on who I was and my accent and everything, and I started talking to people and breaking those barriers and reaching out, even if it's a little bit overbearing. Sometimes you gotta send that email to this one contact that you know could make something happen, you know, and you have to be a little bit overbearing. But honestly, like my biggest advice would be just take the leap and just send the email, just send the text, just talk to the person, because really it can just open so many doors when you meet just one person that gets you. It's really, really, like, don't miss out on it. I was late on it, and now I'm learning my lesson.
Oh no, but I love that. That is so important. You know, it's so important, particularly when you're like yourself, you're very modest about your work, and you know, you really should be shouting it to the heavens, because you know, you really are a fantastic filmmaker. And I love the American Dream. I can't wait to see you know, this documentary, and thank you for bringing this film to us. And you know, I really hope that it continues to reach a wide audience, because, you know, it's very deserving, and really can, you know, if you don't already know what one goes through, teach us a lot about what one does, and hopefully have more compassion, understanding, and that's such an important thing we all need to be doing right now. So thank you, Carmen. We really appreciate you. Just keep making more films, please. Don't ever stop.
I won't. I'll try to not, I promise you. I mean, like,
no, thank you very much. And yeah, come back and see us, okay?
Yes, of course. Thank you, guys. Thank you, really.
You.